Hello there, only one Kenobi here, only one. I did promise a review of The Mandalorian, chapter 13, and here it is. I'm sorry it's a bit late, it's Monday now when I'm filming this, and I just didn't get around to it at the weekend, but I want to get it in the bag because I really did enjoy this episode. This was my favourite yet. I just thought the whole thing was perfect. Ahsoka Tano was coming back and all of that. I mean, I'm not one of these people who have been itching for Ahsoka to come back of all characters. I mean, I love Ahsoka a lot and everything, but this episode really did blow me away, quite frankly. I thought it was really good. But however, it's interesting having a YouTube channel because a guy put in the comments how he really did not like this episode. So it just goes to show there's always a spectrum of opinions and stuff. It was interesting. He said he didn't like, what did he say now? Something about he thought the lightsaber fights were crap and blah blah. Anyway, that he is entitled to his opinion, as am I. So this is my thoughts on the episode. I've made a few notes here. The most important thing I wanted to say first off before we get into this is Ahsoka Tano coming back. Let's get into this. So the episode opens in classic Star Wars style. You go into this really atmospheric planet, you know. There's an industrial flavour to something that looks traditional, you know. Gateway to it, a bit like a kind of like, you know, I mean, I live quite close to Chester, you know, like a fortress, you know, a walled city. Brilliant. So in we go, and there's a massive conflict going on the outskirts, and then you see sabers flying around. It's Ahsoka basically, and I was sold on the very first shot, which is what I'm going to use in this image that you're seeing now on the screen. I think I've chosen, and I just thought fantastic, because one of my biggest concerns was if you're going to bring back Ahsoka Tano, what's she going to look like? Is it going to work? But it did. For me anyway. Again, I know a guy who didn't like the episode. I just thought fantastic. And again, I'm not the biggest Ahsoka fan. I'm not someone who dislikes her. But I know a lot of people who go mad for this character. And I want to talk to you about Ahsoka very quickly. Because Ahsoka Tano, I don't want to sound old now, but I've known Ahsoka since she was a very small girl. Since she was, well, yeah, I mean, look how young she was in that. That's the first time I ever saw Ahsoka Tano. And when she first hits the screen, part of me thought, you know, teenagers, is it going to work? That whole thing. But she was a great character. She was brilliant in this debut. And there were loads of episodes where she was fantastic as well. So Ahsoka's awesome. My concern was, how are they going to make her look? Now, we all know Ahsoka and how she looks in the Clone Wars. In episode, I beg your pardon, season 3 of the Clone Wars, Ghosts of Mortis, that whole thing on Mortis. There's one episode where she sees a future version of herself. And she looks a little bit more mature, and she's got longer, forgotten what they're called. And I think she seems to look a little bit something like this. See, this is a Clone Wars vintage collection card back. And I think that she's been mocked up there to look like a little bit more mature, a little bit more of an adult Ahsoka. So that brings me now to Rebels. When I saw how they'd animated Ahsoka in Rebels, I really didn't like how she changed so much. I mean, people when they get older, their faces do change. With age, but I just thought she looked way too gaunt, and she'd almost like her bone structure had completely changed. This, however, when you see Ahsoka in this episode, it is totally how I would imagine an older live-action version of Ahsoka to look. It was awesome, just so well shot. You could tell Dave Filoni had done this. So I've got notes here. I need to keep this concise because I must crack on with other things. So there's loads of funny things about the episode. Like, for example, Michael Biehn is in it. And when I watched the episode, I didn't even know it was Michael Biehn I was watching. I just saw there was a guy there who's like the right-hand man of the Magistrate. Now, the Magistrate was a great character. Someone obviously evil. It turns out, Ahsoka knows who she is. She is someone who made her fortunes during the Clone Wars. I think she's got a history. Her family were killed or something like that. So then she's obviously gone down the dark path, I think, as she worded it, and made her living her life from, you know, the Imperial Arms or something like that. So anyway, that's who she is. So she's got a history, and quite a warrior she is, as you see later on in the episode. The opening shots were great, as I've said. In comes Mando with the child, because they're obviously there to look for Ahsoka anyway. They fly over the village. They are let into the town. Obviously, again, it's a walled kind of community, so they state their business and in they go. When they get inside, it looks a little bit strange. It looks like a normal kind of bustling village, but no one's allowed to talk to anybody. Or there's a guy who he tries to talk to a vendor. Hey there, vendor, are you there? And they all kind of walk away. So obviously there's a harsh regime there. A couple of guys with single visors come along and sort of have a word with them and say, hey, the Magistrate would like to talk with you. Mando is then led towards where the Magistrate is. Lovely design of the whole interior, almost like, I don't know much about samurai films, but very much an Eastern flavour, like a Japanese garden where the Magistrate is anyway. Beautiful. So it really echoed that Eastern samurai vibe mixed with a little bit of Western, spaghetti Western overtones as well. But he meets her, but just before he goes through the gates to meet her, you see prisoners all strung up, like, you know, obviously stood on kind of totem pole things with these electronic braces all around their bodies. So obviously if they move and they touch them, they will get a shock. So that's a horrible form of torture, that, isn't it? I mean, are they allowed to sleep? Do they have to stay? Have they been there for 48 hours? So, long story short, the Magistrate says, you know, are you a Mandalorian? He says, yes. She says, well, I need your services. I am tracking I'm trying to kill, or she tells him about the Jedi and asks for his services. It's quite funny. He says, I'm not cheap. Because he's obviously so good, isn't he? And he can back those words up. She convinces him by saying, well, you know, what do you make of this? It's a huge spear. Amazing sound when he banged it on the armor. It was a Beskar, pure Beskar steel spear. So this is where it became interesting, the episode. You know, where does Mando lie? Good, bad, or does money dictate it all? And she says, you know, you kill the Jedi, this Beskar steel is yours. And then his first words are, where will I find this Jedi? So you think to yourself, wow, is he going to go and kill Ahsoka now to get the Beskar? What's more important, the Beskar or the future of the child? So off he goes. He meets Ahsoka. There's a little bit of a conflict with Ahsoka. Ahsoka sort of jumps him. I mean, I don't know what Ahsoka's plan is. You'd think a Jedi. I did actually wonder what would happen. Should that Jedi attack somebody who is no threat to them? He hadn't done anything to her first. Surely they should wait to see what he... But anyway, she seemed to go from... I mean, if he wasn't wearing Beskar, he'd be dead, basically. So he protects himself with his Beskar, puts a little thing round her. There's a massive conflict. A scrap with those two. And then he shouts his name, Ahsoka Tano. And then they have a conversation. He explains that he's trying to find her and he'd been sent by Bo-Katan. Cut to a later scene where it's really nice. The child and Ahsoka are sat together. Because obviously Ahsoka does clock this child and she sort of obviously recognises him. Somehow, even if it's not for the fact that she knows who he really is, that he's obviously so reminiscent of Yoda that she instantly has a connection with him. But they're sat having some kind of communion together, and then Mando says, you know, are you talking? And she says, in a way. They're kind of obviously communing through the mind. And she finds out who he is and what the deal is with him. And we find out the name of the child. He is called Grogu. Now, a lot of people have said they don't like that name. I think that's a perfect name for him because it's kind of a cute name. It's a bit like Yoda, short, Grogu. And every time the Mando said Grogu, the child turns his head and responds like, you know my name. So that was really cool. I like that a lot. They do a little bit of a force test. She tries to get the child to levitate a rock and the child's not having any of it. Mando manages to get the child to levitate the little silver ball that goes on the top of the joystick and the Razor Crest. They concoct a little plan to go and save these people in this town. So obviously, long story short, you know, here, Ahsoka teams up with the Mando. They go into the town and they have a big old fight with all the people there, the guards. Michael Biehn is there. Like, I didn't even know it was Michael Biehn. It was so funny. Obviously, I know who Michael Biehn is. You know, I'm a massive Aliens fan. And, Terminator, of course, but he's changed. I've seen him in interviews around about, say, 2004, early 2000s, but he's changed again since then. So it's hard to recognise him sometimes. Ahsoka fights her way as far as the Magistrate, and then she stands her ground. They have a conflict. The Magistrate chooses to use the Beskar spear, and there's a great conflict there. To be honest with you, Ahsoka loses one of her lightsabers, and you think, oh my god, maybe Ahsoka's in trouble here. I wondered which way it was going to go. And even outside the temple, you can hear Michael Bihn's character saying to Mando, you know, how's it going to go? Is your side's going to win or my side's going to win? So they're obviously waiting to see what happens before they make their moves. Kind of long story short, Ahsoka wins, which is great. Good, we want the good guys to win. Outside, Michael Biehn puts down his blaster. This is how cool Mando is, man, you see. Nothing catches that guy out. Michael Biehn puts down his weapon, like man of honor. Mando then takes his hand away from the trigger. He tries to catch him out, Michael Biehn, but Mando, one step ahead, shoots him. Down. Boom! Blows him away. After that, one of the villagers from earlier comes out and then he says, behind you! And then Mando again. This is like a robot thing who's like one of the sort of like stragglers of the battle, is still around. Shoots him down, shoots him down. So that's what Mando is just so good. I mean, sometimes it's a bit rubbish when someone constantly wins or the good guys win. But the thing about Mando is he's just so damn cool, man. It works for him. You know, Rey gets a lot of criticism for always being perfect, but Mando ain't perfect, but he is on it, man. Nothing can catch him out. You have to wake up pretty damn early in the morning to catch that guy out. So that's all I really wanted to say. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Well shot. The music was immense again. Grogu, like the name. I love the whole Western samurai feel of it all. Mando's cool, badass as usual. The future of the episode, I'm glad that that Grogu is not going to go off with Ahsoka, because I don't want those two to be parted. I want Mando and the child to go on. She talks of, you know, problematic training, you know, and made me think back to that episode when we saw the child choking Cara Dune, you know. So he's got powers, but he does need some kind of training or something. The child had been hidden away from the Republic or away from the Empire for many, many, many years. He obviously has a lot of ability that he still can remember, but it's fascinating. I want to watch more. I want to find out more about the child, the future of their relationship, and Ahsoka Tano was just absolutely fantastic. Rosario Dawson just nailed it. Really, really happy with it. What were your thoughts? Let me know below. As you can see at the minute, I'm just in the middle of reshifting everything. There's a new shelf. Well, actually, I've added a new shelf up here and I've moved things up now because I'm going to get some things on the bottom. Some new shelves on the bottom down there. Can you see? Exciting times and stretching out everything. And there will be a room tour coming up soon. So do stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I think I've said everything now. I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview every week. My thoughts on it all. And it's just fantastic. Loving it. Except that one comment was really funny. That guy did not like it. But you know, you're not going to please everybody, are you? Anyway, for now, if you're new around here, subscribe, tap the notification bell, and also hit the like button as well. I have been only one Kenobi. Only one.